Welcome to a live stream with Hotel Tia. My name is Ragnhild Lund Ansnes, and I will be the lucky host today, meeting the fantastic legend Phil Thompson. Before we do that, while you're all finding the stream and getting ready to enjoy an hour with us, I also just want to let you know that this stream in particular, we are doing together with the Norwegian Supporters Club. The Norwegian Supporters Club is an official branch, the largest branch actually outside of the UK. And it's got 54,000 paying members, which is basically 1% of the population is members of the Norwegian branch, which is just incredible. And today they will be streaming this stream with us. And if you're not already a member of the Norwegian Supporters Club and you are Norwegian, you've got to go to liverpool.no and sign up, because it's an incredible supporters branch. This year, actually just recently, they've just fundraised £21,000 for the LFC Emergency Foodbank appeal, which is just incredible. And you can also help out if you go to splace.no project 106016. And if you remember, you will have access to all the Plus stories in Liverpool NO, and you will get this gorgeous Copite magazine sent to you 8 times a year, actually, with really good journalism around Liverpool Football Club. So, and today they are, well, this year they're 40 years old. So you really need to sign in if you are not already a member. So hello to all the Norwegian supporters. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to say hello to one of the greatest, most incredible LFC legends around. Hello there, Phil. How are you?
It's somebody else just come into the room.
Well, here we are.
How are you, Ragnhild?
I am great, thank you. How are you, Phil? How are you feeling?
I'm very good.
Lockdown. How are you coping with that?
6 weeks, to be honest, not doing too bad. It's very difficult, I must admit. In my life as a granddad, I must admit my 3 grandchildren, I miss them immensely. And it's absolutely wonderful FaceTime, and it's great about that. But I'm looking forward to the day that they run up to me and they give me the biggest cuddle that I could ever. And I'll tell you what, I must admit, the tears will come. Honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait.
How do you make time go while you are waiting for the lockdown to finish?
Do you know what? It's the wife and I, we've got 2 dogs which are sitting just over here. We take the dogs for a walk every day. They're absolutely fed up. They're hiding underneath the table every morning as soon as we get the leads out. So we take them for a short walk, and it saves the wife and I going for a walk for an hour. But I try and watch the television, keep up to date what you can on football. Do you know what the biggest thing I've done? Biggest thing, I'll let all the people listening in. What is the biggest thing I've done since this break? You know, my wife, you know the colour on her hair? Yeah. She needed it doing.
Oh, you've been a hairdresser, have you?
Who done it? Me. I coloured my wife's hair.
That's amazing, Phil.
It is. I must admit, I only did it because she couldn't do the back part, so she asked me would I do it. So her friend who's not far away from us, she left it outside the door, the mixture or whatever it is. So we walked around there, picked it up, brought it back, and I started. Oh my God, brought back memories of my perm.
I was just going to say that you have so much experience back in the 80s when you did perm your hair and looked like an 80s pop star running around on the pitch. Oh. And we will get back to the glorious 80s with you, Phil Thompson. But before we do that, I'm just going to remind everyone why we're doing this.
Okay.
This is a fundraising for Hotel Tia to keep Hotel Tia floating during the pandemic, because we are now completely shut. We have absolutely no income and lots of expenses running. And as a new business with a huge mortgage, it's tough times, especially because we're so dependent on football. Every home match for Liverpool is our big sort of days to survive on. So we're doing this to save all the workplaces we've created up at Anfield, but we're also doing this to fundraise for the Foodbank in Liverpool. They need desperately now help, because it's just more and more people are now without income, and it's devastating. More and more people end up on the streets now because they can't pay the rent and they don't have anything to buy food with, which is just horrendous. So Hotel Tia is helping the Foodbank in Liverpool as well.
Well, it's massive, Ragnhild, to help out the people. We know it's hard times. Around the area where you are, Anfield, another club does so much for it. But yourself, it's a good idea. And I know it's to help Hotel Tia, but it helps everybody else. We're missing our fix of football. And if you can bring this into people's homes, just as having a little bit of a chat, reminiscing, going down, you've got all lovely memorabilia behind you. I just think it's a nice way to spend a Saturday evening.
It's right. And I love having you in my office, and now everyone can see what a geek I am. I'm such a geek when it comes to Liverpool Football Club. And we are all staying in, by the way. We are in each other's, well, we are in our homes, just so people know that we are following the NHS rules of staying home. And last week we did a stream with David Fairclough and Jamie Webster. Jamie, who sings with us every home match. They are a part of the LFC Talk podcast that we do every week at Hotel Tia. So if you haven't heard it yet, you have a whole season to catch up on. Some great stories in there, and some definitely involve you, Phil. So they're all free, so you can go if you get bored. You can go and listen back to.
As long as they're all nice, Ragnhild.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Oh, well, Hotel Tia is feel good. We don't want to be too nasty, do we? So it's all true and mostly feel good. So last broadcast we had a raffle, and the raffle prize, and I'm now going to find the winner before we crack on with all your amazing stories. But the main prize for last week's raffle, this is an honor shirt with Ray Clemens, which is very nice. So that's the main prize. So we're finding a winner for that now. And
on the front there, Ragnhild, has that got all Ray's
all
his trophies?
All his achievements. It's just incredible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you've got more league wins than him, haven't you?
Well, can I tell you, I really can. And I love my mate Bruce Grobler, and I do. But this guy was sensational, Ray Clemens, absolutely sensational. When I was young, coming through, he was my eyes and ears. What a wonderful guy. It was always him and Peter Shilton with the England team. He was a million times better. What a fantastic goalkeeper. And that is a prized possession.
I know, isn't that just lovely? And you won 3 European Cups with this man. And we're definitely coming back to them too. So I've got all the raffle tickets in here. Everyone who donated £10. Yeah, this is a great effect. I love that. That was a great one. So the winner of the Ray Clemens shirt is, it's to a lady called Hege Eden.
Well, that's not a local girl, is it?
But no, that's not a local one. This one is from Norway, I am sure. She must be from Norway. So I'll put that with Ray Clemens' shirt. But we also had another prize. And look at this. Brings back some good memories,
The whip. That's his nickname, the whip, to all his friends. But I remember that, absolutely. I was in hospital that night having my cartilage out. I was listening, dare I say, on the radio. I couldn't see the highlights till later on in the evening, but I was in the hospital bed and I screamed and it was in Crosby Park House, and the nuns came running down the corridor, slammed open my door. What's the matter? If you fell out of bed? I said, no, we've scored. Davy scored. most memorable moments. But what a goal. What a goal in our history.
And what an important goal in terms of getting you to Rome for the first European Cup victory. Because Saint-Étienne, they were favourites, weren't they? They had been so good.
Yeah.
I mean, they came to the final the previous year, and they were on fire at the moment.
But
when
the young ones back in 2005 will remember Stevie Gerrard against Olympiacos. Again, a 3-1 game, and how important that goal was to go to the final, to win it in dramatic fashion. So was that. Davies' goal, what he scored in that game, that was 3-1, was an absolutely legendary game. That, for me, as always, I've maintained, was the greatest ever game at Anfield until Barcelona.
Oh, we are definitely coming to Barcelona as well. I can't wait to hear your take on that. But let's find out who is running off with David Fairclough's celebration in 1977, home at Anfield, one of the most electric nights ever, Phil in a hospital bed, and it got us eventually to the final, where this gentleman with us tonight got his first European Cup trophy. This is such a good effect. There
you go, Ragnhild.
And the winner is... Bam, bam, bam. Oh, this is a great friend of Hotel Tia. It goes to Phil Rose. Phil is wonderful. Oh, I made up for you, Phil. Congratulations.
And he's not Norwegian.
He's definitely not Norwegian. He is a
well done, Phil.
So we got one sent to Norway and one to Liverpool, and I think that is perfect. And just for today's raffle, because we are fundraising for Hotel Tia's existence and for the Foodbank in Liverpool, we have a real good first prize today. It is signed by, can you recognize it?
I know whose that is.
He doesn't sign too many things, does he?
He doesn't, King Kenneth, or Sir Kenneth as he is now. But it's a great one because it's quite an iconic as well. I love the retro shirts. The crown paints is a very, very famous one.
And this is the only Kenny Dalglish signed thing I have in my possession at the moment, and we're giving it away to a good cause. So you better donate generously tonight, guys, because the one and only shirt is leaving the house. King Kenny's shirt, and we have a second.
And while we're on it, hopefully, and Kenny, I don't know whether he will be watching. Probably will be. Get well soon, Ken. I know you're very, very ill just of late, but it's great you're on the mend, and love from everybody here who's watching us.
Lots of love.
Absolutely.
All of us at the Hotel Tia as well. We have an extra prize as well. Well, a couple of extra prizes as well, because every £10 you donate or 100 krona, you will get a raffle ticket like this one here with your name on it. And it will go into the draw next Saturday at 7 o'clock when we do our next live stream. Second prize is a gorgeous picture of the one and only Phil Thompson with 7 league victories, 3 European Cups, 6 Charity Shields, 1 FA Cup final, 2 Super Cup finals, or 1 Super Cup final, 2 UEFA Cups,
2 League Cups,
and 2 UEFA Cups.
2 UEFA Cups, 2 League Cups.
You've got so many trophies. It's almost impossible to remember them all. Do you remember them all, or do you?
I do, and I don't know whether that's sad or not. And it's Ragnhild. I look back at my life, my career of when I joined Liverpool, and to think when you, or if I do, and after dinner speaking somewhere, and they read out your CV, you think, did I actually do all that? Did I actually win those things? 7 league titles. I think Phil Neal and Big Alan Hansen, I think they got 8 league titles, if I'm right. And I didn't think anybody had ever better any of them until that shower down the other end of the East Lancs came about. Ryan Giggs, in fairness to him, I think it's 13 titles, which is absolutely incredible. Insane. But I'm very, very proud of every one of those medals.
I bet you are. It's just amazing. And also to be a local lad from Kirby, being the captain to lift your 3rd European Cup. what an achievement, and it's such pride for the city, and we'll definitely come back to that one as well. But before we do that, tonight's second prize is a gorgeous, huge picture of you signed by yourself with that mighty fine European Cup trophy, and it's been donated by Rob O'Brien, who's from Liverpool Private Signings on Facebook, and he's donated 3 gorgeous pictures for us for these streams. So thank you so much, Rob, for that. So that's the second prize. And the third prize, bam, 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 is this one, my latest of my 3 Liverpool books that I've written. And the second one, I got the pleasure of interviewing you in depth for, Phil, the Liverpool captain. So this one is signed by Sami Hyypiä. So that's a good one. And you gave Sami some important advice when he stopped being a captain. I think we need to get to that one too. Obviously, because there's so many Norwegians tonight, you can choose if you want it in English or Norwegian. So 3 prizes. So please donate to paypal.me/hoteltia, or you can do the good old Vips if you are Norwegian, and the number is 600 312 600 312. Phil, it's been such a dramatic stop in the season. We were 2 wins away, and then the world stopped. How have you been feeling during this time? And the discussion is vivid and alive. How do we deal with this Premier League season? What's your take on that?
It's certainly been extreme, without any doubt. We've all loved our Premier League. We're in the best position ever to win the Premier League title. Absolutely. 25 points. Didn't think anybody would do that with the money and the finances that Manchester City have at their disposal. For Liverpool Football Club to be 25 points above them, I find extraordinary. And I don't see any reason, whichever way it gets settled, Liverpool will still be the Premier League winners, as France did, and everybody went into overdrive. France declared it was like null and void. They cancelled it. But lo and behold, they didn't. Paris Saint-Germain was still declared champions, which Liverpool Football Club would do. But I would rather the season finish as it should be. And I know there's different ways of going about it. And it looks now to me as though it will be with a lockdown. And it won't be, sorry, not with a lockdown, behind closed doors. But I don't think we'll be playing at Anfield. I think that will be sad. But it is what we have to come to expect. I think the safety of everybody, not only the players, but of the fans, anybody coming to games, I think behind the likes of places like neutral grounds, I think that's where we're heading with it. But it has to be finished. I really do think that. There's too much at stake, and not just our beloved Liverpool Football Club.
What is your take on how other leagues in Europe have been dealing with the situation?
Listen, Ragnhild, our friends in Belgium, our friends in Holland, even France, I'm sorry, but they're not great indicators of anything to do with UEFA or FIFA in world standing. I am sorry to say that about them. This is the Premier League. This is bigger, stronger, better. There's more finance at stake than any of these leagues, even far exceeds France. And I think there is too much. We are the biggest league in the whole wide world. There's so much money involved in it. That is the problem with it. There's which way does it go? There's going to be legals all over it. Will Sky ask for the money back? 750 million, I believe. That would ruin a lot of football clubs. And then there's the other one. You would have Aston Villa, who've got a game in hand. They would be looking at legals. If they were to say the season finishes, you go down. And it's teams who are going to finish in Europe. There's so much at stake besides just Liverpool Football Club winning it. That is why it needs to continue. That is why Holland finishing it. Ajax and AZ Alkmaar, both on level points. You go, well, I can see that. But they're not an indicator in the great world of football. Not too many people are extremely bothered about it. That sounds awful. It's probably choosing the wrong words, but they don't. And certainly the Belgian league doesn't. The one football team league that is in France, Paris Saint-Germain, they are not any great indicators. The Premier League it's bigger. And the great thing is we can have and look at Germany and how they deal with theirs and how we can get started. And I think we are looking at all proposals. I just want Liverpool Football Club to have our 19th title. And a deserved title as well.
I have a question here from Matthew Mahoney. He says, as a former defender who played with some of the greatest defensive players to ever represent a club, just how good do you think Virgil van Dijk is? And hypothetically, do you think he would get a place in the sides of the Shankly and the Paisley eras?
Well, Virgil is some player. Virgil, I don't think he'd get in my position. I don't think he'd get in Big Al's position. I just don't think he reaches the... No, listen, he's been incredible. Him and Alisson, I think they were massive. When we signed Virgil van Dijk, there was talk about it. We had to wait a few months for him. I said, if we can make that signing, that is a game changer. That is a game changer. I was talking to Charlie Nicholas. What is this guy like at Celtic? And he was saying, Phil, he can play in the Premier League. He finds it too easy in the Scottish League. Because I was saying, I see him turning up as a centre-half. He's on the right wing, he's on the left wing, he's in midfield. He says, Phil, he finds it too easy. I asked Matt Letizia off our programme. He said, Tomo, he's different class. I said, is he an organiser? Because that's what I like with me centre-backs. He said, Phil, he can do all that. He said, he's sensational. So I really look forward to him coming because he knocked back Manchester City. He knocked back Manchester United. He knocked back Arsenal, big clubs. Why? Because he wanted to come to Liverpool and he wanted to play for Jürgen Klopp. So where can he play in the great realms of centre-backs? He could play with any of our given teams, going back as long as Big Ron Yates and Tommy Smith, myself and Emlyn, myself and Big Al, Al and Loro. You could go on and on. Virgil could play in any of them because he's a silky. I look at Virgil, and when you say a player is made for a club, sometimes a club is made for a player. And the way Liverpool play their football, it's ideal for them. You're not expecting them to go crashing into tackles and do it. You're expecting them to read the game, be a football and centre-back. And Liverpool was made for Virgil van Dijk.
And he makes everyone around him play better too. No matter who he pairs up with, he lifts their game, don't you think?
I think this is the problem we used to have with Simon Mignolet in goal. Simon was a good goalkeeper, but he didn't give the defence confidence. And the defence at the time didn't give the goalkeeper confidence. So that's why we were always very, very shaky. But when Virgil came in, it's not only what he did and how he plays the game, and he's so calm. He never looks as though he gets a sweat on. He gives that confidence to all around him. You look at Joe Gomez. I do think, for what I think that is the best partnership. Young Joe playing along Virgil. Matip has been very, very good, sensational to our Champions League run. And Lovren's been a good player. But Joe and Virgil, I believe, and I said, could be together for the next 5 or 6 years. But then it's the other players, the fullbacks. You can only do and play that confident way of pushing forward when you have somebody as good as Virgil at the back. And then Alisson coming in goal, I think he just gives everybody confidence as well.
Definitely. And we can't not talk about our local pride Trent Alexander-Arnold, being such a young lad. I mean, he's the youngest to ever start 2 consecutive Champions League finals. And he's done so well this season with his crosses. They are from another world, creating all those goals. So what's your take on that? And how do you think he is helping Liverpool in terms of being a local lad?
I think it's great having that mural on the back of the stands. It's like something that you would see in Argentina or in Brazil or Chile or something like that. So for the local heroes that we see, we've got ours now in Trent. I think I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of a young lad, a Scouse lad, having that after him. I just think it is wonderful. He should be grateful every day to see of the love that people have for him. And the thing is, he's still young enough. He can learn. He can learn better defending. And yes, it's great you talk about his attacking qualities, but he knows he can get better in his defensive qualities. But my goodness, he's like a cross between David Beckham and Cafu on that right. You can't get much better than that, can you? What a great fullback Cafu was, the Brazilian. David Beckham, as we've always said, one of the best crossers of the ball that we've ever seen. And Trent is a fullback. David Beckham was a right-sided midfielder. That the world is his oyster. He's got such a wonderful opportunity ahead of him to be one of the best. Phil Neal was the best ever right back that I've seen. Goals that he got, but he was a better defender than what people give him credit for. But this guy, his assists, he'll get more goals as he gets older, but his assists, the way his choice, when he crosses it, does he cross it first time? Does he have a touch? Does he whip it round in between the goalkeeper and the defenders? Does he play it to the far post? There's so much to his game. And I'm sick of these young lads coming through, younger than what I am, because they've got a list down at the academy of all the youngest players to ever played for Liverpool. And all these young lads who keep coming along and pinching my spot. I'm down to 20th now. I used to be 7th. All these managers giving these young lads a chance. It's great to pass it over to the likes of Trent. It was wonderful. And we had Stevie and we had Cara, and everybody was saying, and they'd say to me, where's our next local one coming from? Where is it? And I think we've been blessed for something to come in a position like what Trent is, and what he produces week in and week out is nothing short of sensational.
And we have to talk about Jordan as well. Many people call for him to be the player of the year, and he has really grown as a captain over the years, don't you think?
Absolutely. I always felt for Jordan. He's always carried the burden of taking over the captaincy from Stevie. And I think people did look at what Stephen done for all those years. Somebody had to take over the captaincy, and it was Jordan. And he's never ever claimed to be a Stevie Gerrard for what he's done or what, but he's grown into it for people to appreciate actually what he does. And Ragnhild, I said, I think it was back in, I think it was the end of November going into December. And I said, if awards were getting given out now for Player of the Year, Jordan Henderson would win both. The football writers and the players, I said, Jordan would carry the weight to do it. And there was other players. Kevin De Bruyne was playing really well. He was coming back from injury, and there's always going to be a threat. But for what Jordan has done, and in a team that we've done to be 25 points, Kevin De Bruyne is wonderful. I'm not going to take anything away, but Jordan has led our team with great dignity. And we've seen a lot more from Jordan of late. And we've seen what he's done. And that's where your standing as a captain rises, because of what you do, what you feel, and how you have other feelings and thoughts for others besides yourself. And Jordan has come through this coronavirus in what the players, the captains at other clubs, led by our Jordan, is wonderful. And I think as we go on, the season will end, hopefully with these games that happen, and Jordan will rightly be the player of the season.
Talking about next season, there's a lot of questions about who do you think will go and who do you think will sign? And also, should we wait to start the next season until we are allowed in the stadiums?
I don't think that's going to happen. But just to come to that one first, I can see it being nearer Christmas and the New Year before supporters to get 50, 60, 70,000 people coming in stadiums, being in such close contact. I would think that would be very extremely difficult for them to do it. So I do think it could be that long. How they go about it, football clubs to manage and come through these games when that does happen is going to be very difficult. But I can't actually see it being a while. I don't think you can just turn on the tap and us bring the fans back in at the start of next season. And next season shouldn't start. Nowhere near shouldn't start until this one is completed. I've seen an interesting one, John Barnes, the other day. Might have mentioned it to you when he said, tag, if they do it, tag this end of season onto the front end of next season, so that you play these 9 games at the front of next season. So the players will get the rest, then they'll get the proper pre-season, and then it can maybe start then. Would fans still be allowed to come back in? Not sure. As for signings, I heard Didier Mann on Sky saying that it wouldn't be a good fit for Timo Werner to come to Liverpool. That was Didier Mann, because he said he doesn't possess a trick like Mane or Salah has, so he can't play wide. He's an out-and-out centre forward, not like Firmino, who was like a number 10, a 9.5, as they would say. And then he said he's playing in a team which loves to counter-attack, and I thought, well, that's a little bit like what we are, Didi. I still think he would be an asset to us. I like Divock Origi. I'm not going to knock the boy. He's scored some wonderful goals, important goals. But I think Werner would be an upgrade. And we need players like that. You know, Manchester City have got Jesus and have got Aguero. They chop and change. We need that sort of quality, top quality, Champions League quality, to be able to come in and play. And this might sound bad to all Liverpool fans. We have to be ready for all possibilities. And that means if anybody goes, one of those front 3 was to go, I think we have to be prepared. And our football club has always been ready for that and ready to make the big decisions. So I believe Werner would be a good addition. And I
Any other on your wish list, though?
I still think we need a creative midfield player. And I know, and I've mentioned Coutinho before, and I keep getting sort of knocked back by it. And I don't think it's ever going to happen, but it's that sort of player, Ragnhild. We would like that. Our midfield is special because our 3 workers in midfield gives those lads up front the license to score the goals and do what they do. So would that come in? But I do think a creative midfield player, and we do need a left fullback. Larouci, I don't think is ready yet to cover for Andy Robertson. And I love Neco Williams, who is the rightful cover now for Trent. I think he's a fantastic player. He will be. It's whether, hopefully, he does stay around, because he might get impatient, because he's a proper player.
Definitely. We have some fears about players leaving as well. We have Graham Gill saying, do you think the front 2 strikers, Mo and Mane, are leaving at the end of the season?
I'd like to think not. But as I've just said to you, whether it's either of those 2 or it's, listen, we never thought Suarez, who was here, we didn't think that he would leave. We didn't think Coutinho would leave. Sometimes that happens. At the moment, I see our players being more than happy. Whereas I think there was a throwaway line by Keita, which said that Sadio Mane with Real Madrid. And I look at our front 3 and I watch them play and I see how they are. If there was one person out of our front 3 who looks happiest at Liverpool Football Club, it's Sadio Mane. I think he looks he just looks happy. You know, I'm not saying the others don't, but to me, when I heard that, I thought, come on, where's that? That must just be somebody's picked up on a passing comment. But I just think Sadio is a proper fit for Liverpool. And as long as the more they stay, Salah, Firmino and Mane, if they stay together, but as I said to you, I always believe players will turn over no matter how we like it, and we have to be ready. And that's why now we're at the top now to entice people to come with our club being the best in the world. I think at the moment, the players will want to come to the best club in the world and to the best manager in the world as well.
And talking about the best manager, I have a question here about Jurgen Klopp. How much do you think he is the reason behind this immense success? What is it with Jurgen Klopp that makes this team tick?
I think with managers and with players, but I think with managers, I think particularly the foreign ones that come in, you have to get us. You have to get us as people, as a football club. They all know our history. They all know what we've done and whether it's a burden or whether it isn't, but you have to get us. And I think Jürgen gets us in a massive, massive way. He's into our psyche as people of what we want, our love for the club. And I believe we are different. Our Liverpool supporters are different to anybody else, the way we deal with it. We've been through tragedies. We've been through triumphs. We know how to deal with things. And I just think a manager has to come in. This guy gets us. He played for Mainz. He managed Mainz. Their anthem was "You'll Never Walk Alone." He went to manage Borussia Dortmund, whose anthem is "You'll Never Walk Alone." And he comes to Liverpool, which is the home of "You'll Never Walk Alone." I'm not saying he's going to manage Celtic next, by the way, but that's another story. But that is meant to be. I asked him in an interview for Sky, Ragnhild, when I was in his office, and I said, did you think that this was meant to be? When Liverpool come calling, it was the October, he was in a sabbatical. And I said, do you think that it was meant to be you and Liverpool? And he said, let me tell you something, Phil. He said, my wife, he said, I had an offer from Manchester United. When he started his sabbatical, he said, and I asked my wife, I said, what do you think? Manchester United, what do you think? And she said, Jürgen, no, that is not the right fit for you. That doesn't sit well. I don't think that is right for you. And it's nice, a good wife behind the man. And I went, wow, I thought that was quite gold. And then I said, so what about Liverpool? What did she say? She said, well, when Liverpool come calling, and I asked her and I chatted to you, she said, that is the club for you, Jürgen. And I thought that was a lovely story, that you ask your wife and you take her advice. So I think it's wonderful. The woman behind the man. So I think Jürgen Klopp, but then it's what does he do? It's how he does it. He did it slowly. He got people to listen. He looks like that guy and you go, wow, I'd love to have a pint with him. I'd love it to be great. But there's a toughness behind the guy. Because if you're too nice, people suss you and people will take liberties with you. But he is stronger and tougher than what we all think. And you know, and we can all see, he can put his foot down. He can tell people off when it's necessary. So all his attributes are what our football club get. He gets us massively. And that's why he fits the bill with us.
And what I also love with him, he's just brought some personality back into the league as well, because he was so stiff and sort of everyone was answering a bit sort of robotic in terms of, you know, the post-match interviews. It was all about, we need to take one game at a time and blah, blah, blah. You could predict what all the managers and players post-match would say. But after Jürgen came in, he introduced hugs, honesty. Have you had a hug from him, by the way?
I've had a hug, and when I've done my interviews and when we've met, he gives them the biggest hug because he was 6'4", for goodness sake. And it is wonderful, and it's meant as well. When he does give you a hug, he means it and it sticks. And I think you're quite right. It's that humility, what he has, that fun, that cheekiness. And when as our manager, ever been loved by every other football club's supporters. Even Evertonians and Man United fans. Oh my God, I just love that man. And I just think that is absolutely astonishing. If you can transcend those two football clubs, you go, wow. And like when we got him, it was a great move by our football club. Because in that October, I remember the time, Manchester United were looking to change manager. Arsenal were looking to change manager. And I think Chelsea were looking to change manager. And you knew Klopp was about. And we jumped in. And it was awful on Brendan and what happened. But I think our football club had to make that brave decision and a big decision. Probably earlier than they expected, but I think they had to beat off. So our football club at the time deserved massive praise.
There's a great question here from Mary Burnett, because she's pinpointing a huge talking point of this season. She says, can I ask Phil, what do you think of VAR?
Mind you, what's the lady's first name again?
Mary.
Mary or Marie. Oh my goodness, man. I thought VAR was going to do me out of a job on Soccer Saturday. I thought it was all finished because this VAR was going to make all the wrongs right. How wrong can you be? It's shocking. And it keeps me in a job every week. So it's great. We have a laugh and chat. Honestly, Ragnhild, Marie, it has been shocking. You are, and it's not just myself, but it's probably better pundits than me, where we all thought we're going to give it a chance. And I'd like to think I was going to give it a year or two. I'd rather go back to the old way, human error for our linesmen and our referees when they get it wrong. Because now we're getting two lots of people making it wrong. We're getting the people in Stockley Park who are doing the VAR. We're getting the referee on the pitch who sometimes I think passes the buck. And he goes, oh, well, he'll get the decision right for me. And then he's getting it wrong. It is absolutely outrageous. I think for a lot of those offsides, what they do, I think they look too long and hard. I think if they can't make a decision within a minute of looking at those replays, it's a goal. Because if they're looking long and hard, they're looking to find a reason to disallow it, not to give it. And I'm a defender, but I think it should be that way in the game. If you can't, after 1 minute, go, that's got to be in line. So in line, it's onside. And I really think they have to start to go back to that. But some of these handballs, and you don't even know whether it's hit a hand or not. I find it so hard to take, but it's keep me in a job.
Last question about the current team and modern time before we wind back to your glorious days, Phil. This is a question from David Suarez Gray. I love his middle name.
Suarez.
They probably loved Suarez just as much as me. And I know David's been watching and sending in questions before on the show as well. Hiya, Tomo. What is your favorite league or cup game you have played in and seen from the current team? Thanks. So if you answer the last bit first, what's the current team game that you like the most, enjoy the most, watch?
Well, I don't know whether it was enjoyed because I was so nervous with it. We spoke before about, excuse me, what I believe is the greatest game at Anfield. I thought that Borussia Dortmund game was incredible. If we'd have gone on to win the Europa League, that could have possibly been the greatest game at Anfield. Davy Fairclough's has always got, and Saint Etienne has always got a great place in my heart. But that game against Barcelona spoke volumes about our club, who we are, what we are. When we come together, it was like half-time in Istanbul in 2005, all rolled in to 90 minutes of football, where I said Anfield can be the magic kingdom of football at times. It's where the impossible happens, where the dreams come true. And that night at Anfield was astonishing. It was coming together of fans, of players, of staff, everything. So on that night, it was absolutely, memories were made of it. And so many people at so many other football clubs must have been going, wow, what it must be like to be a Liverpool supporter. 3-0 down. Saint Etienne was a great team. It's a wonderful team. And there's been some wonderful nights. But this was Barcelona. Lionel Messi, Suarez, Coutinho, Rakitic. Great names. Piqué. Great names. 3-0 down. 3-0 down. Again, at half-time, we could say, and we did it. And I couldn't believe the feeling in the stadium. And it was great because I wasn't working that night. I was at Anfield. It's the most glorious night, the most warm feeling that you ever have. And you go, this is why I love my football club, because this can make it happen. And all the football clubs just go, why does it always happen? Why does it always happen at Anfield? And it was incredible. That in the modern times, you can't beat it. I'm afraid you just cannot beat it.
I totally agree with you, but I haven't been to as many games as you, and I'm afraid, but I was definitely there and I'll never forget it in my life. But what is it with Anfield? Why is it such a bastion of a place?
Invincibility.
Oh, exactly.
As the great man Bill Shankly once said, and there is something special about it. That's what I'm saying. It's not just the team. It's the people who go there. And after this team's gone, people will come, and they will come in generations. It is the people who make it such a special game, a special place to be. And being there as an ex-player and saying what it's like, playing in front of the crowd is quite incredible. And even now, people used to say, has it changed because it's all seated? The Kop's all seated. And I said, it may have changed because of the seats, but it's never changed because the people don't change. And they keep coming. Whatever nationality, we tap into each other. We tap into that belief that we're great. I've waited 30 years for this title. And every year since 1990, I've believed, because this is what we do as Liverpool fans, I've believed that that team, the next year, 91, 92, 92, we're good enough to win the league. We might have been, but I believed that we could do it. And now we're going to be able to do it. And I just think that is the difference, is that we have a support which is just an absolutely incredible body, which those nights, and I don't know why it is, but those night games make everything more exciting. You know, the night, the brightness of the ground when you go in, the supporters going in, you feel it, something special there. The floodlights are on and you know the magic is there. It's like going to the theatre and the curtains open and you go, wow, it's happening. And you know the magic is there.
I have so many questions about Shankly and Paisley tonight. We have one here from Robert Quinn, because as people would know, you played under both of them. I mean, the great Bill Shankly signed you and you played under the most winning manager we've ever had, Bob Paisley, as well. So Robert Quinn asked you, who was the better manager to work under, Bill Shankly or Bob Paisley?
They were two completely different characters. That's what I would have to say. Shanks to me, what was his first name? Robert, was it?
Robert, yeah.
Rob, it's difficult because Bob is the most successful manager in the Football League, the Premier League, in 9 years, 6 league titles, 3 European Cups, most phenomenal manager. Well, he learned from the best, what I believe. And Shankly was that man. Don't forget, when Shankly walked in December, I think it was 1959, he called Anfield a dump. Melwood was a toilet. He wanted change. He had a vision to build us up to be a bastion of invincibility. So those 60s were wonderful. I was growing up then. Robert's probably a lot younger than me, but I was growing up then and we had the best music. We had the best for humour. We had the best for football. And it was, Shanks was somebody who we believed in. We would do anything for to go forward. Shanks had that way. Bob was wonderful. When he took over in 1974, it was tough. We didn't win anything the first year. But Bob didn't have that same character as what Shanks did. But Shanks's voice, you can imagine, we used to go to Anfield every day to get changed, go down on the coach. It was legendary. I was an apprentice at 15 in 1969. God, it's a long time ago, isn't it? 15 years of age, walking those corridors, cleaning dirty boots, cleaning dirty bats, cleaning floors. It was a labour of love for my hero, Sir Roger Hunt. But you can imagine Bill Shankly walking that corridor. It was incredible, but he could be quite cutting. He used to stop me one day and he went, Jesus Christ, Thompson, look at the size of the nose on you. You must have told some lies when you were younger. Pinocchio. And I was thinking, oh my goodness. He won't stop me, Ragnhild. He won't stop me. And he said, Jesus Christ, Thompson, you remind me of a racehorse. I says, why is that, boss? Lean, muscly, speedy? He said, no, son, you'd be great in a photo finish. And but he was fantastic. He said he wanted to build us up to be a bastion of invincibility. And you look at our world name now, and at times I don't like calling us a brand, but you look at us in world football, and who is it because? People have to take a big look at Bill Shankly and what he developed, what he nurtured at our football club when he didn't have. He had a couple of humble lieutenants alongside him. So he was the best. But I don't take anything away from Bob. Bob was a shrewd man. He just couldn't put it across the way Bill Shankly did. He found it very difficult to communicate. But again, he had Joe Fagan and Ronnie Moran.
I have actually someone here wondering, William Sherry is wondering, do you think Klopp is Shankly in his person?
Do you know what, William? People over the years have often asked me, when managers, same thing got levelled at Gerard Houllier when I was with him, you know, because he worked all hours. We were there at Melwood till 10 o'clock at night. And he'd be ringing up Peter Robinson at midnight. What about this player? What about that player? And people would go, oh yeah, that's what Bill Shankly was like. Nobody was like Bill Shankly. Bill Shankly was Bill Shankly. He was the ultimate. But I think this guy, as I said, transcends the whole of the Premier League, the whole of football. Everybody loves him. And that's what Bill Shankly ended up being like. Everybody admired him, and he was wonderful. Great one-liners, great wanted that. Always threw in a funny line, as he did with me. And who does that sound like? Sounds a bit like Jürgen Klopp, doesn't it? And so they would be, and I can understand and see where people would make the comparison. And I wouldn't, William, I wouldn't prove it wrong. If you think he is, I'm not going to go against you. What a great accolade to be put in the same realms as Bill Shankly.
Fantastic. There's so many questions coming in here for you, Phil. There's one from Jack Bevan saying, hi, Tomo. Who was the toughest opposition player you've ever come up against?
Do you know what? There's a couple. Domestic, I would have to say Joe Jordan. If you remember Joe Jordan, Leeds United and Manchester United, remember him? He used to take out his false teeth. They called him Jaws. Oh my goodness, he'd smash everybody with his elbows. He would make life so difficult, really good in the air, fantastic player. So I had to mark him. I had to do it. But you know what? I was a clever. If you remember me, I was a shrewd and clever centre-back. Joe and me became good friends because he used to live over in Wetherby. His next door neighbour was a guy called Len McCormick, who's managing director of Asda. So at all the corporate events, he would invite me along and he would invite Joe Jordan. So we became best friends. Our wives became best friends. So as soon as we kicked off against Manchester United, I'd go up to Joe on the halfway line and I'd go, all right, Joe, how are you? How's your wife, Judith? He'd say, oh, Phil, she's fantastic. He'd say, oh, Phil, how's Marg, my wife? I'd say, oh, Joe, she's fantastic. He never, ever elbowed me once. because I knew, and I got on his good side. And I don't think he ever scored against me either. But the best international player, humble, Diego Maradona.
Wow, I get goosebumps just hearing that name.
And he was 18 years of age, Ragnhild, at Wembley, playing Argentina, 1980 at Wembley. Our good friend David Johnson scored 2. We beat Argentina, the world champions, at Wembley 3-1. And Diego Maradona was playing. He just scored against Scotland, ripped Alan Hansen apart, but he was in my top pocket just here at Wembley that day. No, he wasn't.
I love it. I just need to give you some of this amazing feedback here on the chat, the live stream chat. Marco Catena, he says, listen to Phil talking about Liverpool FC gives you goosebumps. And then Chris Whitehead is saying, Tommy's passion is bursting out of my screen. Oh, I just love it. Keep sending in great questions, but so many people want to know what it was like to lift the European Cup. But let's go back to your first one in Rome first, 1977.
In Rome, Ragnhild, as I explained before when I was talking about Davy Fairclough and Etienne, I was injured. So I didn't play in that game, but I have a medal to show for it. I did get a medal, which is my third one. 78, I played at Wembley. I was determined to have a winner's medal the following year, but that came 1981. I, Phil Thompson, local lad, Copite, was captain of my beloved Reds against Real Madrid. The All Whites against the All Reds in Paris. What a fantastic setting. All as I could think of, maybe people would say self, I wanted to lift the European Cup. I'd seen Emlyn do it, God bless him, twice before in Rome at Wembley. I wanted to be that person. It was the most fantastic feeling, Ragnhild. You can imagine, I was so nervous, but as soon as you crossed that line, it was game on. I wanted to win. And thankfully for my mate, Alan Kennedy, making sure that we won the cup. But if people will look back at it, as we've won the game, and now I can't help but think of going up these steps to get this European Cup. As I goes up there, this old guy who's presenting the cup shakes my hand and then goes to lift the European Cup, and he goes to lift it like that. And I'm like that, give me the, and I can't swear on this screen.
I'll beep for you.
It was, give me the beep beep cup. And I was like that, and he was just, because you can see my hands doing that. And straight away, right on the first, the upper tier of the stand, right across to my left, was all the lads from Kirby. Because I was the manager of the football team, the Falcon in Kirby, from the age of 21 till 33. And all the lads were right along. There was about 30 of them in about 15 seats. And it was the most, and I raised it over there. The following night, the Thursday night, the European Cup followed me to the Falcon in Kirby. I took it back there, put the cup in the back of my Ford Capri, and I took it to Kirby.
And that wasn't like super normal. And you didn't only take it to Kirby, you took it to the pub, didn't you?
That's what I'm saying. I took it to the Falcon. And
did you drink out of it?
There's a long story to it, Ragnhild. Like when we were doing the tour rounds, have we got time for the story?
Of course, we've always got time for that story.
Well, what we did, and that's why I was cutting it a little bit short. At the end of March, at the end of February, beginning of March, we'd won the League Cup in a replay at Villa Park. We'd beaten West Ham. I'd rose the very first of our 400 trot League Cups. So straight away, when we got back to Liverpool on the coach, we're all off into the night, all the players, we're off to the nightclubs to celebrate. But the next day, Peter Robinson, the chief exec, he says, Phil, do you know what happened to the League Cup last night? And I went, not a clue, Peter. And he said, well, I'll tell you what happened to it, Phil. The League Cup, when the coach driver got back to the depot in St. Helens and was cleaning the bus out, he found the League Cup on the back seat. I said, well, what do you want me to do? And he said, well, Phil, you're the captain. You should have took it home if necessary. I didn't need telling twice about the European Cup. But until we'd won it, and it was in my safekeeping, I told the family after the game, get back to the Falcon. Didn't tell them what I was going to do. This is what they do after the game. But on the Thursday, we'd done the tour around the city, coming along Queen's Drive. As we comes down Queen's Drive, as we're turning up Upton Avenue, it's packed. There is thousands, because everybody from the north of Liverpool came to that area. It's where the McDonald's is, just when you turn up Upton Avenue there. My wife says, Phil, I need the loo. I need the toilet. I've got to go. We didn't have a coach that we had behind with a toilet on it. I said, Marg, and she said, Phil, I've got to go to the toilet. So I said, oh, this coach is going nowhere. Let's get off. I says, and we'll go into one of the houses and we'll ask somebody if we can use the toilet. Well, Colin Irwin's wife, Sue, says, can I come with you? I am desperate. So we got off the coach, the bus, and as we go there to the houses, and they're all looking up at the coach, I tapped a woman on the shoulders, packed outside of a house. And I went, excuse me, love, can we use your toilet? She looked at me and she went, oh, Phil Thompson, use our toilet. She said, of course you can. Just go up the stairs there, on the right, left-hand side door. Oh, God. So we went to the toilet. My wife went to the toilet. Sue went to the toilet. We came down. As we come down, I said to the woman, oh, thank you very much. That was, she went, oh, don't thank me. I'm going to have a plaque on my toilet door. Phil Thompson had a wee here. And I was like that, oh my God. I looked and I thought, where's the coach gone? Where's the bus? Where's the lads? It was now underneath the bridge, past at the pub that's getting knocked down. They were underneath the bridge, going off towards Anfield. It was 500 yards away. I've gone, oh no, I'm stranded. Everybody was dispersing all round. I thought, what am I going to do? There's three of us. An ice cream van come across the crossing and I stopped it in the middle of the road. And I just went like that and he screeched to a halt and he shouted out of his driving seat. He said, Tomo, what's the matter? And I went, I'm marooned. I'm stuck. And I said, I've got to get to the bus. Can you give us a lift? And he said, that door's broke on that side. He said, you're going to have to get in through the hatch. So I've gone like that, shoved Marg in. She's got a pair of trousers on. Sue had a very short skirt on. I had to close my eyes and push her in. And then I dived in behind him. He said, help yourselves to ice creams. So I'm like that, 99ers with a flake in, with sprinklies on top, ice cream. He's going up towards Anfield. His bell's going, his alarm's going. The bus has gone round the back of Anfield. I comes down Anfield Road, up Sleepers Hill, cordons them off. And the players have got the European Cup on the front. I'm standing in the middle of the road and they've looked and they've gone, where've you come from? And I went, long story. Got back on the bus, told all the friends, anybody has seen, get back to Falcon. Get back to Falcon in Kirby. And they were all, yeah. Oh, it's just going to be a party. Just going to be a party. Done the tour around the city, got off, European Cup, big red velvet bag, in my Ford Capri, off to the Falcon. Gets in the Falcon, lifts the European Cup up. Everybody was absolutely amazed. Absolute. What do you do when you win a cup? You fill it full of ale. We fill the European Cup, 8 pints. There was that much in it. One of the lads went, can I go first, Tomo? I said, yeah, go on, fill your boots. He went like that, lifted it up like that. And he went, shh. It was like a tsunami, absolutely covered him in ale. And it was great. So we said, right, we all had our photographs taken. Everybody had photos done. It was brilliant. 6 o'clock in the morning, left the Falcon, went home with the European Cup. Wango Lane in Aintree, as I'm there. 9 o'clock. And I told everybody, bring your children back here the next day at 11 o'clock when the pub opens. I'll bring the European Cup back and you can have pictures taken with your kids because you never know when this might happen again. So I'll see you here at 11 o'clock. Got home, didn't sleep very well. 3 hours kept, phone goes next to the bed. Hello. Hi, Phil, Peter Robinson here, Chief Exec. I said, yeah, I know you are, Peter. And he said, Phil, would you happen to know where the European Cup is? And I was looking at the desk in my bedroom. I said, Peter, it's not a problem. I said, it's here in my bedroom now. I said, it's nice and safe. He said, well, Phil, can you bring it down right away to Anfield? We've got the world's press, the world's photographers waiting for the European Cup. I've thought, sugar. I've promised everybody at the Falcon that I'll take it back to them at 11 o'clock. So what did I do? Took the European Cup to the Falcon first. I took it back there, and everybody, they were all there with the kids. Those kids are grown up now and got their own kids. And we all had the photos. I took the European Cup back about 1 o'clock to Peter Robinson. The photographers and the news guys were furious with me. But I just passed it over to Peter Robinson. I couldn't breathe on him. I'd have knocked him out, and I just passed it. He never said a word to me. So it's a long story. I'm sorry, everybody,
no, it's
if I bored you, but it's a great story.
It's fantastic. And
people ask, is it a myth or is it true? Because people know where Kirby is, and they know it's a rough, tough area, but it's my rough, tough area. And it's a great story and true.
And you are from Kirby, and you still live in Kirby, and now you will get Liverpool's new training facilities to your back garden as well. What would that be like?
I don't live in Kirby anymore. I still have lots of my family. I don't live too far away from Kirby, but it's great. And it was wonderful because we got the academy got built on Kirby, which is a fantastic operation. Wonderful. Lo and behold, my heart bleeds a little bit because we're going to leave Melwood because I have so many memories back there. But I think it was one of the mistakes when Gerard, Houllier, myself, we helped sort of build the new Melwood down there. Fantastic, state of the art. But we should have brought the two together then, the academy, and because that's the way the great success that we had was based about the young lads seeing the first team at Melwood and going, that's where I want to be. I want to be from the B team, the A team to the reserve team. I want to be in the first team. We lacked that because of the academy and Melwood. So this now I think is a wonderful idea to bring the two together. And I've only seen it going up because I'm in Kirby all the time. It's the most magnificent development that it is. And I did, and people have probably moaned at me, but wouldn't it be nice to call it the Ronnie Moran Training Complex after the greatest coach in our history? I say coach, did you listen to the word, not manager, because it is a training complex. Ronnie Moran has played a massive part in our whole lives of our football club throughout the great times. What a coach. My mentor, by the way.
I have a question here from Charlie Farugia, if I pronounce
Charlie,
it right.
Ngozo.
Charlie.
Ngozo.
Yes.
Come
Is
on,
that how you
Ragnhild.
pronounce it? He says,
Charlie
Phil,
Farugia.
who was your best partner in defence in Liverpool and in England, on the England team?
In the England team? Well, first, I'll go very quickly on England. It would have to be Terry Butcher. I think going to the World Cup in Spain in 1982, playing alongside Terry Butcher, people thought the defence was the weakness. We conceded 1 goal in 5 games. Terry was a fantastic player, passionate player, a good footballer. Probably, and it's a difficult one, but Emlyn Hughes was wonderful for me. When I first came as a centre-back, he guided me, he helped me. I'd like to think I helped him out at the end of his career at Liverpool. But I have to say Alan Hansen was my best partner at centre-back. Alan, Charlie, was a Rolls Royce of a player. What you see in Virgil van Dijk now, Hansen was just as good, exactly the same, was a right fit for Liverpool Football Club and Alan Hansen. And that's why the Scots and Scotland never ever took to Hansen, because they wanted somebody who'd get and kick somebody and boot somebody up in the air. Al was a cultured footballer. He was my best partner, and he was I always said he was the next best centre-back to Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore was an absolute colossus of a centre-back.
Here's another good one to sum up your thoughts on Liverpool players from Stephen Morgan. He says, Tomo, in your opinion, throughout the years, who has been your favorite Liverpool player? That's a tough one.
Throughout the years? Well, there's only one, I think, and people will debate it, because I honestly believe Kenny Dalglish has been the greatest ever Liverpool player. If younger people would say to me that it's Steven Gerrard, I wouldn't argue with them. But I just think, and I tell a lot of younger people what because they've seen Luis Suarez, how they seen Luis Suarez play was incredible. Some of the things that he did, the turns and everything, he only did it for 3 years. Kenny Dalglish did all those sorts of things without the biting, but he did all those things for 15, 16 years. And I think also what Kenny did off the field after Hillsborough, what he did for families, now what him and his wife do for charity cancer, everything fits. Probably his knighthood came probably 7 or 8 years too late, Kenny's knighthood. I think he deserved it a lot earlier for what him and his wife did. But he was the best player that I ever had. For what it's worth, Kenny Dalglish is the best, Steven Gerrard number 2, and John Barnes number 3.
Very good. We're soon coming to the last question of the night. We have so many more questions, but I'm not going to hold you all night. But it's amazing to listen to you, Phil, and I'm so grateful you're helping out with the Foodbank and Hotel Tia fundraising. But talking about captaincy, you lost your captaincy to Emlyn.
No.
And that was a tough call. But what happened to you as a player afterwards?
I lost it to Graham Souness.
Sorry.
And it was probably one of the low points of my life. I was really disappointed. I wasn't having such a good time. It was Christmas 1981, not going too well. And Bob Paisley took the captaincy off me, give it to Graham Souness. I was not happy about it, not happy one bit. And I was angry, and I was more determined than ever. And I thought, right, I will show you, Bob Paisley, what I'm still made of. He kept me in the team. He made the change. We went FA Cup 3rd round. I think it was the 3rd of January, Swansea away, who were a tough team. They were in the 1st division, and we battered them 4-0. And I thought, I'm going to show you. I remember going out before the game. Captain, you go out first, obviously. But being now, having the captaincy took away, when I was a younger player, I always went out last. So now I was going out last. And I can remember Joe Fagan, just as I'm going out, and he put his arm on me and he went, Phil, and I said, don't tell me what to do. I said, when I cross that white line, we're teammates. And I said, we will battle. I said, but don't tell me what to do off the field. I said, because you don't have to do and you can't tell me what to do. And we went out, we won 4-0. And we didn't speak for about 6 to 8 weeks. And it's a long time before we made up. But it was great. But I used that, Ragnhild, just before, I know we're going to wrap up. I used that same thing when we were making that big decision to take it off Sami Hyypiä to give to Steven Gerrard. And it was a big decision for Gerard Houllier. But he was going, what should we do? Sammy was having a hard time. And Stevie was ready for it. Stevie was still only young, but was ready. And I think timing is everything in football. And Gerard said to me, oh, how should I tell Sami Hyypiä about? And I said, let me do it. And I had a word with Sammy and I said, Sammy, this is what happened to me. And I said, my performances went like that because it was anger. He took the burden of the captaincy off me. And I wasn't angry with Bob Paisley. You learn as you get a little bit older, and Bob Paisley probably made the right call. Not probably, did make the right call, because it got the best for the team, which is the most important thing, but it got the best out of me as well. And it did the same for Sami Hyypiä, and it did the same for Steven Gerrard. And
talking about Gerrard, Damien Walsh is asking, Phil, do you think Gerrard will become Liverpool's manager after Klopp?
The $64 million question. I think it was no coincidence that the both managers extended the contracts at the same time. I would like to think, listen, I've seen it all before throughout the years of certain players who come to the end of the time and you think, oh, they deserve the right to be manager of Liverpool Football Club. Stephen will know nothing comes easy. And he's probably learning at a very difficult place. Glasgow Rangers, you're in the wake of Celtic, who keep winning and winning, so it's hard, but he's done a miraculous job at Rangers. And he was learning for a short time, doing the under-18s. I do think the longer he goes, and in a couple of years' time, maybe we'll have that progression. Because although this is hard, Jürgen will not be there forever. Stevie has got many, many years ahead of him. And I think maybe, as I said before, timing is everything. And maybe that time will be right then for Steven Gerrard.
There's one question here saying, if there was one game you played in that you could have changed from a loss to a win, which game would that be?
From a loss?
One of the hardest losses, I suppose.
I don't know, because most of the games that I played in were all wins. And all the finals were all wins.
Well, Chris Whitehead, he's suggesting maybe the 77 FA Cup final?
Yeah, there was. And like that was one that I wish I could change, because it was against Manchester United and we didn't deserve to do. But you know why? Because I wasn't playing. So I couldn't do much about it. I was injured. I'd had my cartilage out. So that's why I couldn't really do much about it. Probably the one that comes to mind, 1978 League Cup final. I gave away a penalty against John O'Hare, which it wasn't even in the D. Not even in the D, get that? And the referee deemed it was a penalty that I'd fouled him in the penalty area. And we lost the game 1-0 to that penalty. And I was absolutely gutted, absolutely gutted.
There is one story we have to end with tonight, and it's a request here in the chat, and that is when the dear Bob Paisley was chasing for his first league victory. Last game of the season, you had to win away, and outside was thousands of Liverpool fans without tickets wanting to get in. And what happened next, Phil?
This is quite some story again. It was, people often say I've won 7 league titles, which is the best? And I say to everybody, 1976 was the best of me 7. And it was, we needed to get a point at Molyneux, the home of Wolverhampton Wanderers. They needed a win to try and stay up. The league had finished on the Saturday. I think it was Tuesday or the Wednesday. We're going to Molyneux. It's massive. We haven't won the league for 3 years. 3 years, it's been 30 now. And we've gone there, I think it was on the Monday night. We are then arriving at Molyneux. Probably it's about 6 o'clock, 6:15 as we get to Molyneux. It is packed. Round Molyneux, it's all you can see is the Liverpool fans. There's thousands of them. I'm looking and going, oh my goodness, I think you could still pay at the gates to get in. It wasn't all ticket. And I'm thinking, I hope my brothers, Owen and Ian, and a few of the lads from the Falcon, I hope they've got in to this match. I thought, because, you know, they've followed us everywhere. So at Molyneux, the coach pulls up right on the roadside. Literally, you walk across the pavement. There's a big door there, about 6 foot wide. That is the dressing room, right on the outside of the ground, because the tunnel entrance was right on the corner of the pitch. So you get into the dressing room, you walk through the other door, and you're literally on the pitch. As we've got there, we've got in the dressing room, sorting our tickets out, onto the pitch. It's full already. Molyneux is packed, absolutely jam-packed. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I hope Owen and Ian have got into this match. Goes back in the dressing room, starts getting changed. Starts getting my gear off. There's a knock on the door. And I was just like that. A fella coming in, he said, Phil Thompson. And I said, yeah, that's me. He says, your brothers, Owen and Ian, are at the main entrance up at the other end of the ground. I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I put a tracksuit on, ran up the middle of the corridor, gets to the main entrance. As I've got there, Owen and Ian are standing there, and I've looked like that. Now, Owen is older than me, Ian is younger than me. Owen's standing there, and he looks at me like that, knows what a massive game it is, and he's going to be nice and calm and composed. He goes, kid, I'm telling you, you get us in. Me and Ian and the lads have been up and down the country. We are not missing this game. Don't care how you do it, what you do, you get us into this match. You must. We are getting in to see this match. And I've gone like that. Oh my goodness. I said, go down by the players' entrance. It's right there on the road. I said, I'll see what I can do. So it goes back in the dressing room. Bob Paisley standing. He goes, all right, Tomo. And I said, yeah, boss. He said, what's the problem? And I said, boss, my brothers can't get in to watch the match. And he went, what do you want me to do about it? I said, boss, I've had word with the fella. I said, open that big door. And I says, the stewards are going to let them in the paddock just there. I says, you let them in. I says, it's sorted. I can't do that. And then I could see his eyes going, he needs me in the best frame of mind because we need to draw this match, hopefully win it. And he's like that. He goes to the old fella, give me the keys. And he gets the keys like that, opens this big door. I jumped up on the bench, looked out the window, and I went, oh, and Ian, lads, you're in. They came through the dressing room. Owen's there. I knew you'd do it, kid. I knew you'd get us in. And I was like that. I said, I've had a word with the steward. He's going to let you in. So Owen and Ian and the lads went in and they passed Bob Paisley. Then another 10 fellas came past Bob Paisley. Then another 10 fellas. Bob Paisley's trying to shut the door. He's going to shut it. Bloody hell, Tomo. How many brothers have you got? And the lads who played in the game, it's legendary. It's a big thing. But it was so fun. There was people who had flags and scarves and rattles and banners who were coming through. Good luck, Kevin. Good luck, Clem. Hope it goes well. Bob Paisley couldn't shut the door. Good story. Good story.
Oh, it's lovely to see on the chat so many watching tonight. They were actually there on the day, and it says that the motorway leading there was like a parking lot the whole way. It was.
We won
so much traffic.
We won 3-1, which was most important. We were getting beat 1-0, as everybody knows. We scored 3 in the last 15 minutes, as we do. Another sensational night.
And Phil Thompson, this has been such a sensational night as well. You have spread joy and togetherness to the Reds worldwide. We've had viewers from all over the Red world of Liverpool fans. And I have to say, you know, listening to you taking your time to share some joy in a very difficult time, and so many people are lonely and isolated and scared. So many people are struggling right now. And for you to give your time and your smile to us all, we can't thank you enough. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here with us tonight.
My pleasure. And I do to all Liverpool fans and any fans, even if they're not Liverpool fans who are watching, please stay safe. We'll be through this very, very soon. And it'll be like that. And if we're not, and this goes on and on, give me a call again and we'll have another chat.
It's definitely a deal, but I hope it's not going to last for too long, because it is.
Hopefully not.
It is tough on everyone, but for as long as it needs to, please stay in and stay safe.
Absolutely.
And we will be back with another show here from Hotel Tia a week on Saturday, 7 o'clock UK time. And then we will draw the lucky winner of this incredible Kenny Dalglish signed shirt. I mean, who doesn't want that? I'd love that. Or a gorgeous picture of Phil Thompson, or a book with the language of your choice between English and Norwegian of all the Liverpool captains, all the major Liverpool captains, the last 16 anyway. I need to get hold of Jordan, by the way, and update that book probably soon. But for everyone who's donated, thank you so much, guys. We really, really appreciate your help. just send us a little donation if you can to paypal.me/hoteltia, or you can do a Vipps if you're Norwegian to 600 312 600 312, and every £10 will award you with a raffle ticket, and we will draw the lucky winners, the 3 lucky winners, next Saturday. And also I have to say a big thank you to the Norwegian Supporters Club who joined forces with us today. And if you are Norwegian and if you're not a member yet from the Norwegian Supporters branch, the largest branch outside of the UK, with 54,000 paying members, and the chance to have access to tickets to Anfield, get discounts on merch, and get wonderful magazines, and access to all the stories, also the one behind the paying wall of liverpool.no. You need to sign up as a member. It costs hardly nothing, and it's such a good supporters club that I love to bits. Phil, take care. Please stay safe. Look after yourself. Or should we do a 19 between us?
That'll be coming. 6 will do for now. 19's coming soon.
If you do 10 and I'll do 9, how about that? The big dream. Look after yourself, Phil. Take care.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Charlie and Gozo, take care, mate.
All the best. Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.